What do you guys think makes Finland a unique place to develop games?
Yeah, so how much time do I have? I think that I could take hours if I have to list all the unique things. But I think that I always share the story about, like LA versus like Helsinki, that in LA, if you go to the local Starbucks, stop a random person, you ask him or her, about the movie. And then he or she will start telling you about the movie and who's like taking the lead role and, like the script that he or she has been working on for years and years. In Finland, you go to the Starbucks here and you stop random person and you ask him or her, can you tell me about your game? And then they will immediately start telling you that, oh, it's like a match 3 and it has role-playing elements and, like the user acquisition strategies like this is how we're gonna, like make it like amazing. So the talent density is really unique here in Finland, that you will bump into people in games like all the time. And I think that that's something that is really amazing, that you don't have that anywhere else. And you'll find like a very, very tight community. There's lots of community meetups. You can connect with anybody. I mean, if I want to learn something about, let's say user acquisition, I'll go and talk to Ilkka, or, I'll go and talk to, one of my friends in one of the studios, and everybody's working very, very closely, together and sharing, experiences and best practices. And I think that really the unique thing is really the community and everybody working together. So I think that that's what everybody loves about games in Finland. And then, I said I could go on for hours and hours, but I think that it's a unique place. And, of course, we want to have even more talent come here and help us make even more amazing games going forward. So yeah, it's a unique place.
Yeah, I really agree with what Peter said about the community aspect and the fact that the games industry is still relatively young thing in Finland, but there's a long history of sharing experiences and helping others to succeed as well, instead of seeing them as competitors. And I think that's very unique. And then also in terms of uniqueness, I think it's pretty unique that you can have a place where you have a vivid game industry with a lot of opportunities on the professional side, and then combining that with the fact that you can live in a place that has been identified as the most happy country in the world to live in. So that's a unique combination, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I think Jonas and Peter pretty much already said it, but for myself, I've been lucky enough to be part of this community for a bit more than 20 years now, and for me, it has always been about the people. So I think Finland and the Helsinki or greater Helsinki region in particular has a really high density of super creative game developers, and of course the kind of backbone and the foundation is in the sort of Finnish gaming industry. But in the last sort of 15 years, I think we've seen lots of people to move here from abroad. So if you go to almost any slightly larger game studio in say Helsinki, you'll see that you have people from 20 or even 30 or 40 different countries working in that studio. And I think we have this little really nice multicultural, very international community. And I would sort of echo the point that was already made, that the thing that really makes a community unique is the fact that we've always been a family. It started as quite a small family. Well, now it's quite a big family, but it still feels like a family. And I think the really what makes it different is that people feel and think about the other companies and other people as friends, not as competitors, which means that people share a lot of information. And if you move here and you work from a community, then you are a member of community and you can learn from the other people. And it's just a really fun community to be part of.
Thank you. My next question, I think, Ilkka, you almost answered it, but why international foreign game developers should come to Finland to build their career in games?
Yeah, I think I already touched on the fact that it's an amazing place, and I think that Finland has been now ranked the happiest nation on the planet 3 years running, and it's not a coincidence. So we have fantastic education. And I think that is something, especially if you're moving here with your family, then you can be sure that they will feel right at home. And I think that's something that is very, very important. But also, if you come here, like all by yourself, I think that you'll find a lot of like-minded people. And yeah, I mean, it's just an environment where everything kind of like just works, and it's super casual, very straightforward, very pragmatic. It's really an environment where you can get stuff done, but also then enjoy life outside of like the working hours. And here, the norm is not that you work 24/7, but you can actually like go out and wander around in the forest, which is like 10-20 minutes outside of downtown Helsinki, or like in wilderness. So I think that there's a lot of these kind of things, and again, long list, but yeah, I think that the happiness is like a pretty cool thing. So you should come and check out for yourself.
Yeah, many good points brought up. I'd like also to tap into the international aspect that Ilkka already mentioned, but it is indeed the case that, for example, for us at Ubisoft Red Links, we have way over 20 nationalities among our 150 people. So if you're not from Finland and you don't speak Finnish, you're definitely not the exception or any kind of oddity, but that's really the norm to have people from different cultural backgrounds from all over the world working in practically all the Finnish gaming companies. And also going out from the purely professional aspect, I think that Finland as a country and especially Helsinki as a city is becoming very international as well, and you can fully manage with just English in all the day-to-day situations. Also, Peter brought up the closeness of nature and the quality of life that you can combine to the professional life in Helsinki. So, as said, please come and check it out.
Yeah, I feel that my role in this talk is to kind of just to recap what everybody else has already said, but I feel, to summarize, I think it comes down to the very high quality of life that you can get here, and it starts from a great working culture. As Peter said, we in our working culture is very like pragmatic, but people don't tend to work like overly long hours, and everybody keeps their like 4 weeks of summer vacation, 1 week of winter vacation, and it's just a great way to work, and we do get a lot of stuff done, despite maybe the slightly shorter hours, I feel. And then there are some basic things, like for example the world's best education system, like for people with kids. And I think the other thing worth pointing out is that because it's such a safe place to live in, kids can go to school and can go to their hobbies like pretty much on their own, using, for example, the public transportation system, which means that the parents don't need to spend hours in cars, taking them from place A to place B and then back. It's obviously like that means that you have other or more time for other stuff that you wanna do in life.
Cool. Thank you very much, guys. And the last question, maybe let's start with Ilkka then. How do you see? It's probably like, how do you see the future of the Finnish games industry?
Well, I personally think it's very bright. It's an interesting combination of these like studios, Red Links, Remedy, Housemarque, these companies and studios that have been, part of the industry essentially when it kind of got started. Then there are like other successes like Rovio, Small Giant Games, Supercell, Seriously, etc., etc. But then I think obviously one of the most interesting bits is all of these up and coming studios. Smaller studios are getting funded and established all the time, and I feel that and I'm certain that you'll see a lot more innovation coming from the small studios as well. And then I think it's a mix of everything, like these older established studios, these successful bigger studios, and then combined with these small studios and this like family that I just talked about, which kind of all people like work together, or at least share stuff with each other, and I think we're bound to see more innovation and great games coming from this ecosystem.
Yeah, I agree that the future looks good. And I would say that the games industry in Finland is getting or has gotten more mature in many ways. And you can really see it from the diversity of different kinds of companies, from small to big, from mobile to console, from startups to more established ones. So if you make the big decision to move to Finland, perhaps even with your family, I think that you don't get fully dependent on just one company or role, but it's really a viable path to see yourself making a long-term career in the Finnish game industry with all these opportunities that there are. And I also think that the reputation of Finland as a central hub for games industry is getting more and more known all the time, and it means that there's more and more interest from different kinds of players, and as well as players in the games industry as well as employees. So I think there's this positive trend ongoing, and I think it will continue in the future as well.
Yeah, I would also agree that we're definitely off to a good start. So as Ilkka said, 20 plus years in the games industry, and it's still like a pretty young industry, all things considered, here in Finland. But definitely I see a lot of opportunity to grow it even further, and it's really about the whole ecosystem. So you have the studios, you have the funding, you have all of the kind of like supporting bits and pieces there in the ecosystem, and this is something that we kind of like take for granted nowadays here in Finland ourselves, but it's not kind of like the norm in many places, that you can really find everything you need to kind of like make your game happen, but also get it out there. So it's not just about obviously making the game, but who cares if you make the best possible game if nobody knows about it? So you need to kind of like get that part done as well. And I think that you will find all of that here to build even more amazing success stories going forward. And I think that that's what we've seen, that it's always bigger and better success stories. And that's again, once you get kind of like the machine running and the ecosystem working, that tends to happen. And I think that we definitely have an environment here where there is kind of like no reason why we wouldn't see the next big hit game come out of Finland. So the probability is very, very high for that to happen. And again, I really think that we need more people to help us make that fantastic new game, that fantastic success story happen. So really hope that we will see even more talent coming to the ecosystem, and then we can work on making amazing things happen together.